How's it going, guys? So, this is the story of how I suck at making games. One day, I opened up Unity Hub and was going to start working on a game called Antithesis Verge, and I was really excited about it until this point. You see, I had the first episode of What the Hell Am I Making, man? If you're working on an indie game yourself, then I'm pretty sure that you're aware of this. So, to refresh my mind, I decided to work on random games, as many as possible till I'm bored of it, just to test and try out different mechanics and have some fun. So, anyway, here are the games that I made. Dun, dun, dun. A common thing in most of the games is that the enemy is red, we are blue, and the points are yellow. And okay, for the first game here, we are a square that stops when we click, and we have to pass through the rings. So if you hit the ring, then it's game over. A very simple game. And then I made a similar game, but now it's a side-scrolling Infinity Runner. Same concept: collect points, avoid red rotating thingies, and the square can now fly, which is controlled by the mouse press or the mouse click. So the third game is like one of my favorites over here. So here we are a sniper and we know only three things about the target: the head color, the body color, and the hands color. Killing the right guy gives us 100 points, and if you kill the wrong one, then we lose 50 points. And it's game over when we lose all the points. A very simple point system, but it can be improved and it'll be an interesting game, to be honest. And then I made another game where we avoid red thingies and collect yellow thingies, but here it's like Frogger, kind of like the blocks are coming from the sides and we have to avoid them. Simple game again. But then we move on to the next game where we do not collect yellow thingies, but now we are collecting purple thingies, and we have to avoid the red thingies again. But the difference here is the purple thingies are now getting attached to us, so it's looking really cool. I just wanted to try this out. And if we get hit by the red things, then we lose a life, and when we lose all our lives, it's game over. Then using a random room generator, I made this game. Then the next game is made using a random room generator. Each time the room is randomly generated, and the objective here is to collect the yellow things and avoid the enemy field of view. If detected, we get shot and we lose a life, and the same thing, if we lose all our lives, then it's game over. And then I tried an FPS with few enemies which cannot move at the moment, but it's something, right? I mean, it's a basic FPS controller. And of course, then I made it super hard, and that is time moves when we move. It's really cool effect, right? And I really don't know what I was trying here, but okay. Then I made this weird game where where there are multiple levels of depth, so we can shoot in both ways, left or right. Each level of depth has its own color thingies going on. So the red ones are for the topmost depth, and then we have black in the middle and purple for the bottommost level of depth. And then we have our own space shooter over here, because the previous game reminded me of space shooter games. It's not exactly a space shooter, sorry. And then we have a game where we control a spaceship kind of thing over here. We have to pass through the rings, and this is done using a dolly and cinematics and Cinemachine. I know, really weird way to do, I guess, but it's working pretty good. Then I made a weird game. I already told that. Then of course I made a rail shooter with terrible collision detection, but I used the same enemy types and I used the same dolly track which I mentioned before, and using the same FPS creator. Nothing really interesting here, to be honest. Then I made a game where we can throw an axe, a solder axe, at cubes, and this is kind of like Thor's hammer. So when we throw it, it comes back to us. Really interesting effect, I guess. I love it. Then following the trend of weird games, here is a totally accurate representation of debugging. Yeah. So basically the red block of code represents a bug and the rest of it is code. And trust me, this is how debugging works. And this is how the code works, right? Anyways, we have to kill the bugs. We do that by passing through them. And yeah, very stupid game. I don't know why I made this. Then I made a game where we unlock simple moves by collecting at them. So example here, we collect the wall jump, or we collect the wall climb over here, and now we can climb the walls, and so on and so forth. With proper levels and proper things here and there, I think this could be a really interesting topic, maybe something to look into. Then comes a totally unplayable version of the game called Simon Says. Here every now and then Simon will change the keys and then we have to like adapt to it. For example, here left is Y, and it can be anything, resulting in a game where the controls are just all over the place and making it really unplayable and unpleasant, to be honest. Next, then I made a bareboard version of Antithesis Verge. Basically we activate panels and use switches to unlock doors, something like that. Antithesis Verge, for those of you who don't know, is the current game that I'm working on. It's a stealth based game, so if you want to know more about it, you can check out the other videos. So moving on, then another weirdly good game over here. Here the main objective is to make sure that the ball reaches the goal, that is the yellow thing over here. And we do that using these blocks over here. The purple ones add force while the red ones are used to change the weight of the ball. If used properly, we can send the ball to the goal. I mean by manipulating here and there. So using some clever level designs and some clever ways to implement this, I think this could be a really good idea, maybe. Moving on, then we have a flock frogger, where we control a group of flock, collecting the yellow thingies and avoiding the red thingies again. But if we lose all the guys in the flock, we lose. This is done using an actual flock algorithm where you have to avoid and like common direction kind of thing and kind of common speed, average speed kind of thing, something. Go check it out if you are working on something similar. If you want to have like multiple things moving around like a flock. Anyway, where's the mouse? Yeah. Then then I made a ball controller which can be easily implemented as a car controller too. Made the ground here is red and it's not the enemy at this moment, but it's a basic obstacle course, and this controller feels pretty good, to be honest, to play around, and I'm thinking we can use it for a car too. Again with the weird games now. On the surface this may look like a crappy racing game, and to be honest it's a crappy racing game, but the way the opponent cars work is really like stupid, to be honest, and hilarious, because okay, here's how they work. So basically I used multiple dolly tracks, and the opponent chooses one track for a lap and has variant speeds based on the gears and all kind of stuff. After each lap it chooses another dolly track for the next lap. So it's a kind of like randomly it'll choose a lap and the speed's changing, and I felt it's really stupid and awesome at the same time. So yeah, that's the thing over there. Moving on, then we have a survival horror game, using the same FPS creator and the same red zombie dudes, but here they are smarter. They can move around and detect us using an FOV, kind of. But yeah, the real thing that I wanted to see here is tight spaces, and I think, yeah, of course tight spaces work well in horror games, But what if we have like tight apartments, and then it's a survivor horror game where we have to do things like different levels and something like that. A really interesting concept, to be honest, and definitely something that I'll be working on in the future. And then again, I worked on an isometric antithesis verge. Here we use the mouse to give command to our player, and honestly at this point I'm really trying out different styles of gameplay and different mechanics for antithesis verge. So here's something about it. Moving on, then we have another ISO game where the tiles fall off when we walk by them, and the yellow ones can be walked twice. A really satisfying game, the way they're falling down and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there are many games like this out there, so nothing really new, but very satisfying, to be honest. And then I made a disaster of a game where I'm using the same axe and all from before, but instead of the axe coming back to us, we go to them, and it's very buggy, and I really don't know what's happening over here. It's like all over the place, but it kind of works, and maybe when I'll improve it, it'll be a really interesting concept, having something you throw and then you can go to it, and then you can also call it back. To test this out and to satisfy myself, I made a much more improved 2D version with the shuriken at this time. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, coming back to the game, and honestly it looks very cool, and we'll definitely include this in a game. Maybe I'll include it in antithesis verge itself. It's not perfect, but it's really fun to play with, and a bit of improvement and fine tuning will make it really interesting. So basically left click is to throw the shuriken, and left click is to go to it, but when we do a right click it comes back to us. Then back to the really weird games. This is a game where the 2 blocks over here represents the hands, and we are climbing something over here. The red ones in the climb are the thorns. Really hard one, but a bit of fine tuning, and this could be like a really good weird game, you know, those kind of games which are weird but in a good way. And the red represents the current hand, and the blue is the inactive hand, and as long as we press on the mouse, the hand goes till the maximum position, and if we let go, it'll just place our hands, and if we hit the thorn, then it's game over. If not, we'll climb a bit. It's like climb. Then I made another climbing game where we have to avoid branches, and the monkey moves where we tap left side or right side and gain some height. It's a really fun game. Really a lot could be done in it, maybe characters, maybe some more background and foreground and all that kind of stuff, but a simple one tap game. Then I made a 2D top down shooter where we have to protect a stronghold from zombies, and the zombies are coming from all over the place, and they can destroy the blockades. So maybe upon expanding this game, I can have like rebuilding of blockades, and then assignment of things and all that micromanagement done in it. Then it's the same game in 3D and with the same FPS controller and the same red zombie dudes, but yeah, same concept in 3D. A lot could be done in this. Maybe I could have like things I can like have tighter spaces over here also, and few spaces which are open, and then scatter few things here and there like generators and all, so that I can keep the player moving and things can be done. Alright, then for some reason these games reminded me of tower defense, so I made a simple tower defense game where we can place the turrets on the white blocks, and we defend the town, which has a health of 5 at the moment, represented by the blockades in yellow over here, the 5 blocky kind of things. Moving on, then I made the same thing but at a bigger scale, and now zombies are coming from all directions and we have to protect the town. And yes, the gold is collected by killing the zombies and can be used for more turrets. So then I made another weird game where we control the blue square thingy, and we can use the cover over here. The red is lava. If we step on it, we lose some life, and someone is shooting us, and that someone is Joe. We don't know where he is, but we have to like follow the trail of the bullets, and then when he reloads, we can move around. I don't know, and we kill him when we get to him. Next, Then I worked on this really cool little game where we used WSAD to control the shield guy who is on the top, and to point the shield in a direction, and then we use the arrow keys to control the sword guy who is in the bottom and to point the sword in the right direction. A bit of planning is needed in this game. A few improvements can be done, and it's a really interesting game. It's like one of those games where the enemy moves when we move. When we change the direction of the shield, the cycle is based on that. The enemy has spawned or they move a step or something like that. So it's like you have to plan your next move based on the previous moves and all that kind of stuff and how it happened. I don't know what I'm talking now. Anyway, then I got really bored of it and decided to watch a few videos and stealth history to regain my motivation. And that's it for now, guys. I'll be starting weekly devlogs for Antithesis Verge now. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe, leave a comment, follow me on social media or something like that. You can go check out the soundtrack of the game. The link will be there in the description below, and along with the other social media links. Stay creative, take care, bye bye.